The Monday night game. So the Seahawks are playing at the Eagles. This line opened up. The Seahawks -3.5. It's up to 5. Actually 5.5 in some places. So who do you like in this game?
I still like the Seahawks, even with that line movement. You and I both had some concerns last week about if Russell Wilson was dealing with an injury, or if he just didn't have his head in the game, or if something was wrong. They kind of quelled those concerns with a big win over the Cardinals. I really need sleep, man. This is a big time theme this week. But yeah, so they beat the Cardinals in a pretty impressive showing, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They made some strides there. So I think that they are going to have a good chance to take down the Eagles. The Eagles just can't block. They can't throw downfield. Carson Wentz leads the NFL in interceptions with 14, and he has been sacked 40 times, which is also the most in the NFL. I have uttered those same statistics with different numbers for the past 3 weeks consecutively. It doesn't seem like those trends are going to change anytime soon. Wentz just keeps making big mistakes. And I think the Seahawks now are ready to take advantage of that. Their pass rush was much better. Carlos Dunlap looked really good against the Cardinals, and their secondary looks really good, even without their top 2 cornerbacks. If they can get Shaq Griffin or Quentin Dunbar back, or both, I think we're talking about not a big-time blowout by the Seahawks. I think it'll be hard to win on Philly or in Philly on the road. But I still think they could win this game by double digits. We just haven't seen the Eagles be able to do anything consistently on offense, and their defense is porous in the back end. So I'll take the Seahawks for a couple units here.
Yeah, me too. The Eagles are just a mess. I thought they're going to, maybe not win against Cleveland, but I thought they're going to keep the game close. And I guess they did for a while. And then Carson Wentz just kept committing turnover after turnover. He was just a mess. He gave the Browns 9 points, and the Browns scored 10 points. Like it's just like he just lost the game by himself. And I really don't see any signs of him turning it around. Like he's just been miserable the whole year. He looks like he's never played football before. Sometimes, like he just like doesn't know what he's looking at downfield, and he just throws randomly. It feels like I don't understand what's happened to him. He used to be an MVP candidate quarterback, and even last year he played well. He willed the team into the playoffs, even though they're missing so many players. I don't know if he's dealing with some injury that no one knows about, or if he's just kind of lost his passion for the game. So I think if I were the Eagles at this point, I think I would go with Jalen Hurts and see what he has. I mean, they spent a second round pick on him. So it's not like he's some scrub, or at least they think he's, they don't think he's a scrub. So I really don't understand like the point of playing Wentz anymore at this stage. Like at least give him a break, I think that could work out for him, and it wouldn't be unprecedented. I mean, Drew Brees, back when he was with the Chargers, he had a great 2002, and then 2003 he struggled, and the Chargers benched him for a few games in favor of Doug Flutie. And then Brees came back, and he played really well the next year. So, like, a few games off might be good for Wentz to kind of like sit back and kind of figure things out. So I think that's what I would do if I were the Eagles. As for this game, I think the Seahawks are going to win this pretty easily, especially like you were saying, if they get at least one of their cornerbacks back, like that'll make their secondary a lot better. I mean, either way, like they're going to find some ways to pick off Wentz. Like Wentz is throwing interceptions against bad teams. He did that against the Giants. So like, how is he going to beat the Seahawks? Russell Wilson, like we weren't sure about him last week, but yeah, he looks like he's bounced back from whatever was bothering him. I think he's going to be able to beat the Eagles easily. And, late in the year, you want to bet on Wilson. Week 11 or later in his career, Russell Wilson is 33-18 against the spread. So pretty good, I think.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty good. I think if the Eagles weren't in the divisional race right now, I think you'd see some Jalen Hurts for sure. I think at this point, they're probably just trying to wait it out and be like, hey, we might still backdoor our way into the playoffs if we can win some of these games. But if Carson Wentz keeps playing like this, they're not going to win. And then we'll see Jalen Hurts down the stretch. And I think Wentz can absolutely bounce back. He's just had a terrible year. I think his confidence is gone because he's been under pressure so much. And, I think he can be a good quarterback again for the Eagles, but they're going to have to invest in some better protection for him and some, just get healthy too. But, if it ever got to the point where the franchise was like, all right, Jalen Hurts played the last 3 games and he looked great, we're going to roll with him, there would be a trade market for Carson Wentz, and I would think the Colts would be in on that, depending on what Phillip Rivers does after this season, because reuniting Wentz with Frank Reich behind a great offensive line could pay dividends. So just throwing that out there to the wind. I have no idea if that's even remotely possible, but just something to chew on.
Yeah, if they didn't have a viable backup, I'd be like, yeah, you have to go with Wentz. I mean, like you said, they're in the wild card race, or they're in the divisional race. So I guess if they didn't have a good backup, it would make sense to stay with Wentz. But they spent a second round pick on a backup quarterback, and why would they do that if they're not going to try something? Wentz isn't working for them right now, and I wouldn't give up on him. I think the Colts trading for him would be great for them. But right now he seems lost, and I think he needs a week or two off. It may not work out, but what they're doing now isn't working anyway. So I think they have to try something, but that's just me.
Yeah, and for those keeping score at home, that is the second time I've suggested a quarterback be traded to the Colts this year on the podcast. We're gonna hopefully by the offseason get through all 30 of the teams that could possibly trade with them.
We'll have a long list at one point in one of the episodes. All right, Survivor. Minnesota did not work out last week. Actually, all the options we were considering last week that we had available did not work out. Tampa was the other one, I believe, and Tampa lost to the Rams. And I was saying, if we had the Ravens available, I would take them, and they lost to the Titans. So it was one of those weeks where there were a lot of upsets. Dolphins were another one, and they lost. So this week, if we were still alive, and now we have 2 losses, so I can't really complain about the Colts too much in week 1. I think I was looking at what was I looking at? Obviously, if you have the Packers available, you want to take them. That's the no-brainer. But right now, I think considering all the teams I have chosen already, I think I would go with the Bills. I think against Justin Herbert, playing against a great defensive-minded coach against a great defense, and the Bills having extra time to prepare, I think the Bills are the best choice given what we have available. What do you think?
Yeah, I can see the Bills. I like Justin Herbert too much to fade him like that, but that's because he's on my fantasy team, so I'm inherently biased. So I'll fade the worst starting quarterback in the NFL and go with the Giants over Ryan Finley's Bengals. I truly do not imagine a scenario where Ryan Finley helps the Bengals do anything on offense. I think they could score 3 points, possibly fewer. So that's a terrible, terrible prediction because the odds of that happening are low, but I still think it's possible. So I would take the Giants. I think that they have a very good chance of winning this week, and I don't think you can really use them in many other scenarios.
Yeah, I was thinking about the Giants, and I just couldn't quite pull the trigger on a 3-7 team on the road. But I think that you might be right about that. They were close though in consideration. If you want to save the Giants, you can quote unquote save the Giants for week 17 when they play Dallas at home, and I think that could be a decent option. I think the Giants should be able to win that game. But yeah, I wouldn't blame you at all for taking the Giants. So yeah, I would go with the Bills, but it like I said, it was super close for me. I really don't see a teaser I like this week at this moment, but just because there are a lot of lines off the board. If the Packers are -8.5, I would definitely throw them in the teaser at -2.5. Looking also at the Patriots, getting them up to 8.5. I don't like I said, I was not confident at all in that game. But I think they'll stay close to Arizona, relatively close. So if you're going to give me +8.5 with them and then -2.5 with the Packers, I think I would like that teaser.
Yeah, I think I would like that one for sure. I would also consider the Bucks moving them from 3.5 to 9.5 and going with the Patriots there. I'm on the Chiefs in that game though, so basically that's my way of saying I think the Chiefs are going to win somewhere between 4 and 8 points. So I think the Bucs would be a good choice there.
Yeah, someone's asking about Miami. It's for Survivor. We already picked Miami, but if you have Miami available, I think they're a great choice against the Jets. The Jets are not going to beat the Dolphins, I don't think. So yeah, that's another option. So that is it for this week. Do you have anything to plug?
Yeah, you can follow all of my work, or I'll tweet out most of my work on Twitter at Jacob Kaminger. I tweet picks every week. Be nice to me when I'm wrong. Don't tell me that it's rough all the time. I know usually if we lose, I know that we lost. But yeah, you could ask me questions there. I tweet out fantasy stuff. I'll tweet out a ton of Washington football team stuff this week too, because it's Thanksgiving week. And for I think the third time in 5 years, we're playing the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. And it's like the fourth Thanksgiving game in 5 years. So I'm very used to this like very compact Thanksgiving week schedule. So I'll have a bunch of stuff for that there if you want to know more about that. You can check out Rigo's Rag. You can check out sportingnews.com/fantasy for my fantasy stuff. And yeah, let's just talk some football. It's been a good season so far, and I hope this week treats us better with the picks.
Yeah, hope we have better luck this time. Please hit subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. I even wrote that out, so please hit subscribe even more, or hit the like button, comment, or share this with someone. It would mean a lot. Like I said before, closing in on 2,000 subscribers, so that's pretty cool. I'm at walsterfootball.com. Updated picks throughout the weeks, Thursday thoughts, Saturday notes, and then final thoughts Sunday morning. Updated for the injury reports, and Saturday is super important because the final injury report on Friday. Updated 2021 NFL mock draft coming tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning. So I'm going to write that up tonight and see how that goes. Plus tons of content from Charlie. He's posting some great draft content already. And the college football season is getting close to the end. So, as we get closer, we're going to have even more draft content. We're going to have more information from Charlie's sources. So check that out as well. Otherwise, I'll talk to you next week.
All right. Sounds good. Talk to you then.